Do you not feel like an Ultraman?
Ultra T.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Saved by the Belial, an atrocious Ultraman podcast where we save all of the racy jokes for off the air. I'm David.
I'm low testosterone Chris.
And joining us is the irreplaceable Kyle Anderson. How are you, Kyle?
Huh? I'm great. I feel extra good now that I'm irreplaceable.
Well, we only know that because we tried so many times.
No, that's the problem. I'm like a bad penny.
So, I think we made the right decision, Chris. We decided to record our bonus episode before, just to kind of loosen ourselves up a bit. I was thinking about it, and Reclaiming Conversation by Sherry Turkle. She talks about how it takes 7 minutes for a conversation to really get started. So take 7, multiply it by about 8, and that's where we were at for the bonus episode. So
about 56 sounds like?
Yeah, right about. So, give or take 5.
We're not an ultra math podcast.
No. So we're going to talk to Kyle. We're going to talk Ultraseven. But if you want to get to know Kyle a little bit more, and I demand that you do, make sure to check out the bonus episode next week. But since it's not next week right now, or is it?
That's some wibbly wobbly timey wimey things.
Spoilers, Chris.
Oh, shoot.
Kyle, if you could talk about yourself a bit, whether it's Nerdist, your other podcasts, probably not your personal life because it's not worth talking about. Whatever you feel like the listeners should know.
Well, I mean, what I don't know if anyone needs to know anything really about me, but I'm the senior editor of Nerdist. I co-host 3 different Doctor Who podcasts. I feel like if people are Doctor Who fans, maybe they know who I am from various podcasts I do. Doctor Who I am. We don't have the rights to that. I'm just singing it.
Yeah, we only get 10 seconds of that.
But yeah, so I do a podcast called Doctor Who: The Writer's Room, which takes a look at the writing and kind of story progression, I guess, of Doctor Who. I do a podcast called 5 Years Rapid, which specifically looks at the 5 seasons of the Third Doctor from the early 70s.
Rapid? Like, why don't you get a shot for that?
Rapid, quickly. 5 Hounds Rabid. No, I don't know.
Well, now I feel like an idiot. I'm here talking about 5 Years Rabid. Like, it's just, the next great American novel, living with rabies for 5 years. What it does to a man.
Or, I mean, get a shot for first. You don't need to do that. Technology has moved way beyond.
Shot for the past 6 months, and you see how that's worked out.
Yeah.
Put them down.
Sidebar, of course. I, as a child growing up in the 80s and 90s, rabies was a much bigger deal. I always thought it was going to be a much bigger deal than it ended up being. People are constantly worried about getting
dropping
rabies.
And rolling.
Yeah,
there was that too. Yeah.
When are you going to get rabies or on fire?
Yeah, it feels like a John Mulaney skit waiting to happen.
Yeah, it is up there. I mean, he has that bit about quicksand, which again, they talked a lot about quicksand. Also, amnesia, getting hit on the head and then you forget stuff. That was everywhere when we were kids. When I was.
How do you know that didn't happen to you?
I don't, and I never will.
So you get hit again and all your memories are put back.
Yeah, Chris, you just blew my mind.
And that happens on Doctor Who one time. Actually, a couple times. And then the third Doctor Who podcast I do, just get the plugs out of the way, is Doctor Who, The Memory Cheats, where we randomly decide what Doctor Who story to talk about for 10 minutes, and then we're done. So it's a very short podcast. But yeah, you can find all of those on my Twitter at Kyle D. Anderson. There, I've done literally all the plugs.
I will
But that's what you need to know about
all of
me.
those in the show description. And let it be on the record, every time I hear the word plugs, I don't think about my stretched ears. I just think about Tobias with the worst hair plugs in the world and his refusal to have them taken out. Because I just started watching that again the other day, and it's such a good show. It's such a good show.
So we always like to ask a fiery, incendiary question of our guests.
Yes.
Who's the best companion? And if it's not Donna Noble, you can see yourself out.
I mean, it's hard to argue with Donna Noble. I'll just say that. Like, she has the kind of I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I promise I will stop.
Donna, I think, has the maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but has the kind of unfortunate distinction of being in, I think, David Tennant's worst season overall, story-wise. But she, by far, is my favorite of his companions. I think Rose with the Ninth Doctor is unbeatable, but I did not particularly care for Rose with the 10th Doctor. But absolutely, Donna is like his best, my favorite of his companions. I like most of the Matt Smith companions. I think I actually like them all. So it's kind of tough because that was like Smith was like my doctor when I caught up to live with
how much did he
11th hour.
Yeah, what was his deductible?
higher than it should have been. I got a bad deal on that.
Not a real doctor.
No. But yeah, so you're not going to get an argument out of me that Donna's not good.
Dang it. We never do.
Because we've asked that question so many times. Well, actually, we've asked that question, but people have answered wrong, so you've never heard their episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
They've been shown the
never
door.
guess how many guests we've dropped.
Yeah, we actually had Kyle
Someone
Higgins.
said Martha, and I just wow.
Yeah, we had Kyle Higgins, the writer from the Marvel series, and we booted his butt right out of there.
He said Billy, and I was just like, sorry.
Yeah, what a snob. So let's get the house clean out of the way, because again, we are a patriarchal podcast. So, Chris, we do not have any new reviews for you to read. I do apologize. Actually, we did get a new review, but they didn't leave a comment, so you're dead to us.
Well, let me read it then. 5 stars.
That was offensive. I can't believe you said that. Not in this day and age. But we did get some listener feedback from a couple people about the laundry machine monster that we talked about. And the first one was a comment on YouTube. Dang it, forgot to take my cough drop out. Okay, so the first comment was
for later.
I know, but then he was talking and I was sucking on it.
Angriest way I've ever heard someone say that.
We have strong feelings on cough drops on this show.
So the first comment came from Anim Soltron on YouTube. They said, I know exactly what you're referring to with the laundry machine monster being Five King and the noise there. That was always so distracting to me as well. And then we got an email, like an actual email.
Someone was so incensed about this. They emailed us.
Incensed. I love your verbiage. Terry Vickroy said, hello, Chris and David. Like,
hello.
Yeah. Hello. I'm so glad someone else could relate to my distress with the strange sound coming from Five King. That weird pitch noise sounded exactly like the washer and dryer my parents had. It really threw me for a loop. It also got me to do my laundry, so I guess that's a plus. Love the show. Excited to keep going down the ultra rabbit hole with you guys. And I think he's unmasked a Subaraya conspiracy that people just weren't doing laundry in Japan, so they would do this. And, there you go. I don't know if LG is a Japanese company, but that's what we have is LG washer and dryer. So maybe that's what's going on.
I think we should do an Ultraman podcast that only focuses on laundry theme episodes.
You'll find a surprising amount, actually.
I was going to say, I mean, we definitely have the one from Neo Ultra Q, which is so good. But
ultra dirty laundry.
can tell you about that.
All the secrets of the show revealed.
And so also wanted to give a quick shout out to the Henshin Dad podcast. So
Happy Father's Day.
a few weeks late. I don't remember if he gives his name on the show, so I don't want to dox him. So we're just going to call him Neil. But Neil is the Henshin Dad, and he's been going through some of the new generation shows this month. Long story short, it's a really fun show. He takes 10, 15 minutes, talks about whatever series of Ultraman or Kamen Rider. If you just want something quick, bite-sized, I definitely recommend checking it out. And sorry, I hate getting old. I get like these weird heartburn burps. I'm just going to blame it on getting COVID last year. Okay. And then less importantly, we have a Patreon.
Take all that money you're giving to Monsters vs. Men and give it to us.
I know I said I was done, but I'm never done. But it is a little bit different. It is going to charity. So we'll talk about that at the end of the episode. But we would ask that you at least check that out and be willing to consider partnering with us. Again, I'll have more information at the end of the episode. But now it is time for Ultraseven. And I am awkwardly reaching over here to grab the box because I forgot to take a picture of the show description. But I guess if you're listening to this, hopefully you've already watched it. But in case you haven't, as an interstellar war of invasion spreads across the universe, a scout from the land of light in Nebula M78 comes to Earth on a mission of peace. Is that anachronistic? Like, don't they establish? I don't remember if they established that later. After witnessing a heroic act of self-sacrifice by a young Earthman, the alien is inspired to protect the planet and its people from those who would do it harm. He adopts the human identity of Dan Moroboshi and joins the Ultra Guard, an elite unit tasked with defending the Earth from alien invaders, as the team's newest member, the giant hero Ultraseven. The third entry in Tsuburaya Productions' Ultraman franchise, Ultraseven, in all caps, would offer a more thoughtful adult approach than its predecessors while still delivering the action and giant monsters that fans of Ultra Q and Ultraman, both in caps, had come to expect. Available for the first time in high definition, enjoy the visual effects the Tsuburaya team is known for across the galaxy. So, Kyle, if you could start by reading the episode description for episode 1.
Absolutely. Episode 1, The Invisible Challenger. A routine traffic stop takes a terrifying turn when the driver disappears in a flash of light right in front of the eyes of a shocked police officer. As the Terrestrial Defense Force learns of the disappearance, they find that it isn't an isolated incident. People have been vanishing all over Tokyo with no connections found between the victims. Concluding that such a mysterious event can only be the work of aliens, they call on their elite team, the Ultra Guard. Also, Dan Moroboshi shows up. They did not even mention him once in this description.
They did not mention Dan Moroboshi. You were not wrong.
Is he like important to this or something?
Interestingly enough, he's in the title song, which has never happened before or since, I don't think.
No, but more
Certainly
importantly,
not before. There was 2 songs before that.
we get Kenji Sahara. So this is already my favorite series because he is the best actor of all time. So, you know. So, new show, new tone, new characters. What's the opinion here?
I'm a big Ultraseven fan, which I think is probably why you guys asked me on. And I really just, I love, I don't know why, actually.
Lawyers, that's why.
We needed to add to our People with Beards autograph book. Yeah, I think it's great. This was the show that kind of, Ultra Q got me into watching these type of shows. And I still think Ultra Q is like a masterpiece. Ultraman's a lot of fun, and you guys did a great job of talking about what makes that show so fun. But Ultraseven is like, at least these 10 episodes that I've rewatched, I mean, there's dips, peaks and valleys with all of these shows because they were so long. But this really gets to the heart of like what I really like about, this type of show. And it's kind of no surprise that Ultraseven became sort of, I don't know, just as mythical as the original Ultraman and kind of got to do more stuff. Like, he in the storyline of the greater Ultra universe seems to play a much bigger part I mean, he has a kid. He was a mentor in a different story. Like
He
there's-
gets a
he's
lot of
all over the-
action.
yeah, he
Oh
shows
my
up
gosh.
arguably a lot more. It's weirdly like they hold back on showing the original Ultraman because that's like, you know, the
Mhm.
pinnacle. We can't overuse him, but Ultra 7 gets to get all down and dirty and stuff like that. And also it's fun to watch this kind of when I did, and also, you know, now having seen a lot more of the Ultra series and just see how different it was and how they really did retcon this into being an Ultra, you know, part of the Ultra saga, because so much of it is not what we know of from, I mean, first of all, he has no color timer. So what are we going to do? We could talk about these episodes forever.
These episodes just go on forever, actually.
Right. Yeah. We
Crazy.
might just need to go ahead and have our extender just this first episode. Because I mean, yeah, we get a human size Ultra 7. Like right off the bat, it's entirely different. He uses Wyndham, right? And then we have just the humor here is unique as well. Like when they're introducing everyone, they're like, and age, sorry, pardon me. Like it's just the narrator is beautiful. So what about you, Chris? Though
Oh, I'm so sorry. I literally forgot that we were timed. So please continue.
So did Ultra 7, so it's fine.
I guess
we get the one per episode. It's fine.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
It is funny you mentioned that because if you had asked me before all this which Ultra I recognized, it would have been Ultra 7. Like for some reason he's the one that I've seen, and it might be because what you're saying with that Cartoon Network thing. Maybe he's like in next week's episode. You haven't said that yet. But yeah, this is the one that's a lot more recognizable to me. But I like that it's like feels kind of like a new show, but it just keeps rolling. It's like you've been watching. I'm here to set up this new thing for you. I like the continuity. Didn't feel quite like a pilot, but didn't quite feel like a season premiere. Felt like the stakes were a little higher. So
and the alien gets decapitated.
But it also seems like everything I recognize comes from like a lot of the kaiju and a lot of the robos. When I was on Ultra Wiki taking a look at them, just like looking at their suits, I was like, hey, we just saw that one in Ginga S. So yeah, that's my incisive commentary.
I don't want to take too much time on this episode, but they brought kaiju royalty into this episode because both Akihiko Harada and Kenji Sahara are in it, who between the two of them were in every single kaiju movie ever made.
Covered them all.
And of course, Kenji Sahara was the lead in Ultra Q, but Akihiko Harada played the original Dr. Serizawa in Godzilla. So legendary dudes.
Yeah. And I like the fact that they have been Furuya. Sorry, just my English coming out. You know, he's a suit actor for Ultraman. You know, so that's cool that he's actually on the Ultra Guard. But all right, man. We got to keep this structure.
Yes,
that's what the people are here for.
Structure. They're here for our strict rigidity.
Yes.
On episode 2, The Green Terror, on the return of TDF agent Ishiguro from space, his wife and maid discover a bizarre rock lying in their driveway. The Ultra Guard recognizes it as the alien substance Tilsonite 808 that was left alone for the police to handle. This proves to be a mistake later that night. His exposure to a second piece of Tilsonite 808, insidiously sent through the mail, seems to mutate Ishiguro into a horrible plant-like alien, YL. He leaps into the night, assaulting and nearly killing a passing salaryman. Worse yet, upon his retrieval by the Ultra Guard, the man mutates into a creature himself.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I've got to ask, how does it feel to have an Ultra host that actually has a personality compared to Shin? Like, it's the facial structures, it's the joke. It's like he's hot. Like, what's going on here?
I mean, he is a much better actor. I do have to say, and then maybe it's not even the actor's fault from who played Shin, but like, he gets a lot more to do. Dan is a lot deeper. And also this is a cool episode. Anne gets to be cool in this too. Anne is an unsung hero, I think, in this. And she gets to be awesome right away.
She's also a babe. Let's be honest. We're you and me, Kyle, we're married men. I think we can admit that. So.
Oh yes. I do freely admit that I'm a married man.
Episode title. Oh man, this one
Oh, that's
sat.
awesome.
It felt a little different though. Like after the pandemic, being like, we're going to prohibit citizens from going out at night, or like this thought that like, you know, it's really an effective strategy. You keep infecting others, and they'll infect more people. And just sitting here and being like, too soon, super high.
Yeah, too early. But I also just had to laugh about mailing rocks to people's houses. Like the mail person wasn't like, well, that seems kind of weird, but it's got a stamp, so
the mail must go through.
Yeah, rain or shine, space or earth, the mail will never not be delivered.
I don't know if you're familiar with, there's a show / movie called The Quatermass Experiment. It's an old British thing. This series obviously was kind of inspired by British stuff, but the Quatermass Experiment is about astronauts who come back to Earth, and one of them is infected with an alien-like plant creature and then becomes this giant monster that they have to destroy.
Oh, Venom.
It basically is Venom, less talkative Venom. But that's what this reminded me of, like, a lot, was the Quatermass Experiment. A little bit of Invasion of the Body Snatchers too.
They live, they laugh, they love. Wait, that's the other movie.
Ridiculous,
Anyway.
Chris. Yeah, and what I love this shift already, so we talked about how Dan's a different host, but it's also because he's actually Ultraseven, right? It's not like Hayata having the Ultraman inhabit him. It's, well, we haven't got to that episode yet, but it is more unique here, where you see him being more calculating than Shin would have been, right? So his eyes can glow, he can see through things. He's constantly evaluating stuff that Shin or other Ultra hosts that we've seen haven't done. So to me, that I like that unique feel. It sets that sci-fi tone drastically. I'm not going to say all right. Episode 3, Secret of the Lake. A tip sends Dan and Furuhashi into the mountains to search for a crashed extraterrestrial object, where they pursue a strange girl who seems out of place. The chase eventually takes them to a bizarre alien ship. Dan quickly sees through the girl's flirtatious responses to questioning. Before he can press her further, though, a trap knocks them all out. As Dan's consciousness fades, he sees an alien figure reach into his pockets and steal his Ultra Eye.
This episode is so relatable because every time a woman flirts with me, they just want something. Like the information that I have, my Ultra Eye, it's just like, no one wants me for me.
The information
they just want me
you
for
have.
what I can head Shin into.
Your Baby Yoda Funko collection back there.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, man. It's just like, they're just like, I want to see you henshin. And I was like, tell me what you really want.
Oh man. Oh. This is yeah, I love this trope of Dan losing his Ultra Eye to a beautiful woman.
Well, we should say,
Who
like,
can blame him?
Which, I mean, it comes into play a little bit more later on, but he is OP in this series, like, at least early on. Like, so they have to do something to make him little, you know,
They have to nerf him.
they got to nerf him a little bit, especially when he
Nerf
becomes
or
Ultra
nothing,
7.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, not only does he have all of his powers when he turns into Ultra 7, but he also has a pocket full of giant monsters and robots he can throw out. Like, he's kind of overpowered, but
it's proto
this episode, but we do get Ella King in this one, and Ella King is great.
Have you seen Mabius?
No, I haven't seen Mabius yet.
There's
That's one of the ones I
a
haven't seen.
tiny chibi Ella King in that show, and it is the best thing in the world.
I need to watch it.
Are you telling me there's another baby kaiju coming up?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah.
Marty. It is funny to me. Like, you had mentioned how OP he is. Like, it's episode 3, and they've already said we gotta get this away from him. Like, in a traditional show of this length, we're like still getting to know the extent of his power. The Rangers don't even have individual Zords yet, let alone the Megazord. But they've already got to start taking his eye away, you know?
It starts here too, where it's like in previous Ultra series, and other ones too that came afterwards. It, like, an alien threat would happen, and whoever the team, the science special search party, would go and intervene. This one sets up the aliens are coming specifically to attack the Ultra Guard.
Yeah.
and I think obviously because Ultraseven is involved, but it's just like, maybe it's you guys who are the problem. No one would come and bother anybody if you guys weren't here.
Yeah. Clearly Dan's pissed someone off and he just won't fess up. Right. He's just sitting there and be like, woe is me. And it's like, dude, you literally ran over his dog. Like, did you not think something would happen here? But
it's like John Wick, but the kaiju version.
Speaking of John Wick, they're adding some really interesting actors to this new movie.
King Kong was probably the strangest addition.
I figured it would have been the clown from It, but let me shut the door here really quick. What's his name? Quarterwise or something like that?
Yeah. Pennywise is the Great Value version.
Quarterwise. You know it wasn't that.
6 Pennywise the Richter.
Oh my god.
All right, what are we up to? Episode 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Episode 4. Max, respond! Dan is ferrying Amagi and Soga under top secret orders to the classified ship Max, created by the TDF. On the way back, he stops to help a woman with car trouble, only for her to assault him and steal his Ultra Eye. Upon arriving in the area, the Max itself is captured, lifted into the sky by the alien tractor beam. Desperate to save their comrades, Dan and the Ultra Guard immediately sortie?
Yeah, it's a good
In
word.
the Ultra Hawks. The insidious Godola, I actually don't know how it's pronounced, appears to them, telling them of his plan to conquer Earth.
Conquer Earth?
You just do what I do. Say the name really fast and confidently, and no one tweets at you that you said it wrong.
Yeah.
Or if they do, I don't read
No
it.
one tweets at us anyway.
Yeah.
So, Chris, you're our resident Old Testament guy. It's very clear Dan has not read any of his Proverbs because he keeps falling for all these women.
That's what I'm
these
saying.
foreign women.
He keeps, every time Lady Folly comes up, he's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Lady Folly beckons from her car, yet he always listens.
See, I'm just like, if this would have been done in the 90s, he would have just pulled been like one of those goth kids at Hot Topic and just chained his Ultra Eye to his Jinko jeans. And he never would have lost it. Right?
At least
that
put
is
it
not
on
going
like a pendant or something.
anywhere.
Yeah, there is no reason he should have something that powerful just loose in his pocket. That's insane.
Yeah, it's literally like in his breast pocket, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, a woman has to violate his boundaries to get it. And maybe that's it. He's
Because
just like,
stealing itself is not a violation.
yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. Like, he hasn't felt the touch of a alien in a long time. So he's just like, yeah, sure.
Same,
Yeah.
man. Dan is really just like my guy.
Yeah, he's a little clueless though, right? I mean, not
Well,
only
sure.
does he fall for the alien disguised as woman, he has no idea that Anne wants to get with him. Like, just no idea. But he's an alien, right? So
Yeah.
how would he know? I mean, they've
That's
never.
one of the
Yeah.
That's one of the best parts of the show, is constantly being like, Dan, Anne is like super into you. Darn you.
It's literally Dawn. Oh man.
This episode, we do have the first appearance, I think, of the like alternate kind of jazzy Ultraseven song, which is them counting.
1, 2,
which
3, 1,
3,
1,
4,
2.
1, 2.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite bits of this, and they just play it a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this whole show, the soundtrack's different, right? And I'd
Yeah.
actually had that on a comment for a different episode, but a lot of it's very foreboding. It's very
Yeah.
dark, and then you have songs like this where you're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. It's unique. I like it.
Yeah, totally. But you need something to play over these elaborate model like launching sequences that they've made.
Yeah. Honestly.
And they're so cool. I mean, again, this was like Super I was a big fan of Jerry Anderson, like Thunderbirds and stuff. And so they wanted to do a lot more of that with this show, and it like completely shows, because there's so much attention to all the different ships and them taking off, and just like the kind of like,
I mean, they're literally called Ultra Hawks.
yeah,
Come
I
on.
mean, honestly.
You can't be more obvious at that point, in my opinion. But Sorry. I was gonna say down the road in some of these ultra shows that it goes from that to being like one double, one double, one double, one double. Like they do that in like Return of Ultraman and stuff. And those are my favorites. I don't know. There's something about those one dabas. I'm just like one daba forever, right?
Speaking of music, before we go to the next episode, I do want to say that when they go aboard the Max and Kenji Sahara is there and he turns around, they play the Ultra Q sting because he was the star of Ultra Q. And that was one of my favorite bits.
Yeah. It's almost like they're nerds making these shows. Right?
I know they're nerds for their own shows, which is really fun. I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Can usually go in one of two directions, though. Also, I have a really good joke about this one.
Okay, don't let him talk.
Episode 5. What? Okay. Episode 5, Vanish Time. A well-respected TDF official, Professor Yoshi...
A walrus TDF official?
A walrus official. A well-respected TDF official, Professor Yushima, is traveling by supersonic jet from Antarctica to Japan to upgrade the Ultra Guard's radar system. Mid-flight, however, the entire plane and all of its passengers are suddenly frozen in time and space. Time resumes a moment later, with nobody noticing anything amiss, or that anything had happened at all. Until time once again is frozen, and the visage of alien Vera appears on a television to deliver commands to the Doctor.
What's your joke, Chris?
Okay, so you know when he's holding Vera, like, right in front of him? And you're kind of sitting there going like, kiss, kiss, kiss.
No.
Because he's holding his mouth really... Yeah, I know you were. He's holding his mouth really close to his mouth, and they're like both like arms open, ready to receive one another. I call that Ultraseven minutes in heaven.
No,
I can't believe you did.
I like it.
I watched that whole thing. I was like, they're going to kiss. They're too close. I feel the tension in this Arby's tonight.
Oh, man. So I have to ask a question. How did they think that we would believe Professor Yushima is only 29 years old? That is...
Yeah, that's me.
The oldest looking 29-year-old I have ever seen. That's like... all that sciencing has made him look...
People had hard lives back then.
Yeah.
That's true. And he did get frozen in time. So maybe he aged.
Yes. Okay. See, I didn't think about that. Clearly, I didn't spend enough time.
Yeah.
You know,
and the actor playing Dan is only 6, weirdly enough. So that's how the aging process works.
So Anne...
They're all Benjamin Buttoning.
No, Anne was 22. It's weird. It's a weird one.
I love
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, this is a weird episode to me.
Yeah,
there's a lot of interesting things, but like there's a lot of stuff where I feel like this episode kind of gets slapped together too. Like at the end, like the Ultra Guard all of a sudden knows that the professor is being controlled, even though they never explicitly see that. It's just editing things where I'm like,
There's a number of things. First of all, this episode does something that I hate in anything, which is the bad guy accuses the good guy who we know is the good guy, and everyone should be like, I know Dan, he's a good man.
Yes.
And yet they just immediately assume that he is the evil one, and it drives me nuts. And it was like he's in prison, or the little like makeshift jail that they make. And then he just immediately puts on the thing and like breaks his way out. And it's just like, why didn't you do that from the beginning? Why didn't you just become Ultraseven? Because they clearly don't question Ultraseven.
Oh, crap.
They only question Dan Moroboshi.
Apparently when I did the drum joke, it killed the timer.
Oh no.
So we have no idea how long it's been.
Well, just on that one.
Like the people. They had no idea how long they were paused.
Okay.
This is so meta. This is what we do on this podcast unintentionally. We did this on purpose.
Just let it call it quits at this point.
That had to be 3 minutes. Yeah. And if not, my Ultraseven minutes in heaven joke was certainly 3 minutes worth.
It's also not the best episode, so I'm fine not talking the full 3 about it.
Yeah.
Man, we're just knocking out of the park tonight. All right. Episode number 6. Dark Zone. Dan and Anne, or their celebrity name, Dan. Lieutenant Dan, are shocked by the appearance of an alien being in UG headquarters. I was thinking, almost said UPG. I'm like, wait a minute, wrong show. The alien asks only for time to recover from his injuries without alerting any hostile forces. Dan and Nan agree, but meanwhile, the UG hones in on an unidentified signal that turns out to be a distress call. Dan, being only Dan, is called away from his guest to the control room to deal with the issue, where the signal is revealed to be coming from the city of Pegasa, whose interstellar engine has gone out, placing them on a collision course with Earth.
Well, that's not good.
No.
This episode I like a lot. I like how slow it is at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It takes its time, and it's just kind of creepy that there's the shadow alien is just there, and they just kind of chat with it, and I like that whole like opening bit, and then once we see the city, the alien city of Pegasa, that's one of the best model shots that they've ever done. It's just this gorgeous, like weird kind of corally looking space city. They spend a lot of time. They luxuriate in that shot, and I'm a big fan of that.
They deserve to, though.
Yeah,
Right?
I know. It's Super Aya, for God's sake. Like, they can do that stuff. I will not begrudge them things like that.
Yeah, this show has a very interesting take on like ultra ethics, right? So to me, they're really weighing out the option of like what's going to happen if we blow up this city. Something that I don't think we always see with Ultraman shows. More often than not, we do, but especially at this point, we haven't really seen that. Like, we didn't see that with the Baltons, right? They're just like, nuke them. But what really hurts is the fact that like the aliens were working on something the entire time. So like, why the silence? Like, it could have avoided. Like, they could have avoided this, but they didn't. They didn't radio back, and it just makes me wonder, like, were they just not hearing it? I don't know. There's just something very uneasy feeling about this episode. And maybe that's the point. I'm not sure.
Well, that's certainly the thing, because I've clearly not watched the show in order, but I think even if you watched it in order, you would still feel a little sympathy for the alien. Like, I think in a lot of Western shows, if someone's like, "Oh, I just need to hide out, let me recoup," we'd be instantly on like, I don't know. But Ultraman isn't going to let you kind of sit with those easy like assumptions. Especially like you said, it is a slow burn, but it doesn't feel slowly paced. I'm not waiting for it to get to the point, but I am waiting for the tension to build, or the tension is building while I wait. I mean,
yeah, totally. And the conversation that Dan and Ann have with the alien while they're sitting there is really like interesting, and like finding out about like, we make everything, including our air and water, and like we're never not working. And then they even say that thing about like technology is inconvenient, and you folks just don't realize it yet, and stuff like that. And this is a Japan that only 20 years ago had gotten almost obliterated, or at least they had seen as close to the end as possible, and now they are the pinnacle of technology. So it's like it is a warning as much as it is kind of just a fun adventure. I have to say that makes me anxious every single time.
That's the point.
That's the point.
Even at home listening to it, it's like, that guy should maybe fast forward through this, but no. All right.
Whose turn is it now?
I think it's me.
This next thumbnail just kills me again.
I truly, some of them, I'm just like, did you just take a random image from the episode?
This looks like when a kid is sitting on the Easter Bunny's lap. If the Easter Bunny was in space prison.
It's exactly what it looks like.
What's funny is when we get to Ultraman Ace, we do get a Easter Bunny kaiju.
That's true.
Oh my gosh.
Get ready for that. All right.
5 years rabbit.
Get your shots. It's time for 5 years rabbit.
That's not funny, Chris.
You're right.
Episode 7, Space Prisoner 303. A hunting trip is interrupted when the hunters find a miniature spaceship, only for its violent pilot. Yeah, that's right. Violent pilot to kill them in quick succession. At about the same time, in space, the TDF's space station V3 no relation to Kamen Rider V3, receives transmissions from some space source. We don't know. Contacting the Ultra Guard, who are also receiving the messages, V3's captain and Captain Kiriyama try to understand the source, which is revealed to be a warning concerning a violent interstellar criminal known as 303, the very alien now on Earth.
We have Ippei back. How awesome is that?
That was, I mean, it's pretty great, but also like, what a short time he gets to be back. Like,
yeah,
it's like with the indignity of just getting slashed across the face. He does get to call the Ultra Guard, who just pick up. Does everyone just know the number?
Well, first of all, he is saved by the telephone, right? And then he picks up, and then all of a sudden calls. I'm like, wait, what?
Does he have the number memorized? Is it easy? Is it like 911 where everyone just knows the Ultra Guard? And also it gets him right to headquarters. Soga picks up. It's not just somebody. I'll patch you through.
Is that the Ultra Guard?
Ultra Guard's number one marksman picks up the phone.
How can I transfer your call?
Yeah, clearly it's not the number that they do on what was it, the IT Crowd, the new 911 number they come up with.
They put it up against the recording.
Yeah, it's such a weird episode here. Like, they go back to the gas station and the woman's still lying there in the back.
Yeah,
like
there's some like really scary. I mean, like it's all POV of the alien and stuff like that. We don't really see its hands for a while. It's pretty scary early on, and it's daytime horror. This show does a lot of daytime horror, which I think looks good on the the type of film that they used.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about having a narrator in this show? I know it's not necessarily only this show, but like, I think it works really well with the sci-fi tone.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I like it, and I like that it's not an obtrusive narrator. It only kind of pops in when you need it, which is something I really like about it. It's not like he's not a main character, the narrator. It's just like this fills you in for things that you maybe don't know.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want them to necessarily show it to you, right? Like it's actually serving the role of a narrator. So
I have noticed that this one does have a lot. This feels so much more sci-fi, and the horror element too, without feeling like it's beholden to either tropes of either franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. And they wanted to do it for slightly older people, and not like old people, but like older kids, and
for senior editors.
Or senior editors, geriatric editors. But I think it totally works, and they're not like, they don't like hold anybody's hand. Like it's, we talked, Ella King, there's blood squirting like when he gets his head cut off.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There's some gore going on there. Also, whoever they got to dub the white lady at the beginning does a terrible job.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
Yeah. I almost said that. I took that out of my notes because I'm like, I bet I'm gonna just, I don't know.
It's not offensive if it's like,
I know.
I don't. You know what I mean? Like the person who is dubbing that voice, the voice is the weird thing. Like it's like they're doing a cartoon voice.
I know, but then I'm like, I wonder if it was actually the white woman.
All right, episode 8, The Market Town. Strange occurrences are a growing trend. It's Shakespearean. Strange occurrences are a growing trend in the town Kitagawa with no memory after. More incidents occur, leading Dan to believe that there's some outside influence on these people, which is confirmed when a strange voice commands Ultraseven, scare quotes, to stop interfering. The culprit, Matron, who happily admits, once confronted in his human disguise, that he's been infecting cigarettes in an experiment to see how space poppies affect the human brain as an attempt to conquer the planet without having to mount any sort of invasion.
This is a Josoji episode. Like, there's no, oh man. Like, I know there's other directors, they have their own fingerprints and stuff, but like, he just has such an eye that I've missed because he doesn't have a lot of episodes in Ultraseven, unfortunately. But it's like the behind the shoulder shot we get when he's walking to the funeral. I mean, that scene has stuck with me since I saw it, I think probably beginning of 2020. And like, I don't even remember what happens. It's just that shot itself just sticks with it,
Yeah.
or like sticks with me. And when you have the Ultra Guard with the big lights, I don't know, there's just something so unique about these episodes. And
Yeah. Yeah. This is a work of art of an episode. Like,
Yeah.
it is a visually stunning episode. And, he's doing so many interesting kind of like avant-garde things with the camera movements and stuff like that, and the different angles, and the fact that he takes the time to have Dan sit down, like it does that shot with Metron where he just kind of talks about his plan and stuff like that. And then the kaiju fight at night, or, the dusk. It's gorgeous.
Ludicrous.
It's absolutely stunning. And it's got social commentary in it. So like, those scenes early on when the members of the Ultra Guard are smoking the cigarettes, and like the red filters, he puts the red filters over the camera and the lights and stuff like that. That's really effective. Like, it's super easy to do, but it's like really effective. And then watching them like lose their minds in the base and stuff like that. So like,
me lose my mind up in here.
they do in fact lose their mind up in here. But yeah,
you guys went a lot more serious with this commentary than I would. My first joke was going to be surgeon's warning, may cause invasion.
That's actually pretty good. Where's McGruff, the crime dog kaiju, when you need him?
Want to go home and rethink my kaiju life.
Yeah. Have you thought about like the weird code of ethics between these aliens in the show? Because again, we have a very specific alien where like Metron's just, hey, stay out of the way. We're not going to hurt you if we don't need to. And I'm like, you realize like he's trying, I don't know. It's weird. Like some aliens are fine with him. Some aren't. It's just,
yeah.
I don't know. It's
a lot of honorable aliens.
Yeah. I will say this episode has everyone's worst nightmare though. A big truck emptying a load of gravel and rocks in the road ahead of you. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm
Final Destination
sweating
style.
Oh yeah.
Sweating.
Yeah, I grew up in Colorado and had to do a lot of mountain roads where there's nowhere to go. And yeah, that was a terrifying moment.
Yeah. Also, almost half of humanity smokes cigarettes. What?
It was the 60s, man.
Different times, man.
Yeah.
You've seen Mad Men.
Yeah, well.
I've seen Mad Ultramen.
What?
Oh.
Belial and Traeger. All right. Episode 9, Operation Android Zero. A nighttime patrol by Soga and Furuhashi is cut short when a surprise beautiful woman electrocutes Furuhashi after the agent jokingly told her that he was, scare quotes, Dan Moroboshi. Furuhashi survives and discovers he's managed to snag the woman's brooch, which is covered in alien writing, which translates as Android Operation Zero. Like, let's just be honest. How did they... Okay, anyway. Dan's investigation leads him to a group of children wearing the same badges and playing with toy guns. Before I hit the button, did anyone feel like they just stopped caring about the episode descriptions at this point?
Hey, they got 40 more to go. I'm curious.
It's just like, it's not even trying to sum it up like how the others. It's just like, we got 10 minutes into the episode and we're done. Okay.
Seriously, yeah. Almost all of them are like, here's the first 2 seconds, and now it has nothing to do with the rest of it.
I know this android.
You do. And you know the alien.
Oh, yeah, that too.
You're just focusing on the women.
Hey, man. Future Trunks came to warn me about these androids. Is the thing. Yeah, I think this was the episode. Okay, this is really embarrassing because this is episode 9. But this was the episode where I kind of realized, like, hey, I do actually know a lot of these. So it did. I would have been really curious to see what this episode would have felt like before Giga S, because of the whole storyline that was built around the humanity. But it's something that we've said before, something Kyle said tonight, this episode or the next one, like the fact that the show doesn't like punish you for not having seen it all in a certain order, can only add to it later. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. And this one too, like social commentary again, but like in a different way. I mean, you got child soldiers basically, but like the idea of toy guns being actual guns. It's just like it's really rough. But like I still think that the show doesn't ever get so dark that it's like like we can't watch this anymore.
Yeah.
But it really kind of walks that fine line.
It's
a lot of
unsettling.
times. Yeah.
And that's
Well,
I think
especially
that's
when
good. But
yeah, I do too. And especially when the bad guy is just an old guy, you know what I mean? Like you just kind of get the sense that like and an alien and an android woman and stuff like that. And so it does feel a little more immediate, some of the scares or the kind of threat in a different way than if it's an alien monster suit or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's amazing that it's become even more pressing as a social commentary as time's gone on. Like, especially living in Chicago, like even just a few days ago, there's a shooting on the South Side, and even yesterday, someone was in a fender bender and they ended up getting executed on the road because of it out of road rage. Like the fact that this stuff comes up in like a show from the 60s commenting on guns and gun culture, especially with kids. Like we grew up in the age where all of our toy guns had the orange like tips on the end.
Yeah.
So it's fake or not. But the fact that like this was, I don't know, it was just kind of pressing to see how like apt this episode still spoke 60 some or 50 some years later.
Yeah.
Just crazy to me.
Yeah, episodes like this hit differently after I actually witnessed an attempted shooting, and I'm like, it's serious business, and I'm glad that the show didn't shy away from these topics.
All right. I can't believe what a long, strange journey it's been, but here we are at episode 10. Episode 10. The Suspicious Neighbor. Not a particularly exciting title, but there we go. As Dan investigates reports of a man who seemingly hasn't moved in 24 hours, the team notices a radar contact at the same place one was recorded a month ago. The oddities increase when Dan discovers that time is seemingly frozen in the area of his investigation. But when he enters the space, it is revealed to be alien in nature. Trapped in what is revealed to be the fourth dimension, Dan attempts to transform into Ultraseven, but is unable to do so, or even release a capsule monster under the strange physics of his prison. Then Icarus then reveals itself then. There's too many thens in that sentence.
The editor.
There's a dead bird floating midair. What a glorious sentence. Only an Ultraseven.
Yeah. This episode is weird and I really like it.
Yeah.
Because
Ultra Rear Window.
Yeah.
See, this is the episode where I finally realized the Ultra Guard guys, their butts look so good in the uniforms. I'm just like, all right, guys. These
are the best of the uniforms. Oh, hey, this has nothing to do with, this is just a show kind of thing. But doesn't it drive you nuts where in any show, their helmets always have a visor that they never use? It's just always up. That drives me insane.
That's for when they find a training remote.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like put it down once. Just show me that it works.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Show me that it moves.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because otherwise it's a motorcycle helmet. You just leave the thing up.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with anything. What do you think of the like balloon meets intestines kind of prison that he's in?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it feels like, there's a place around here called Kaleidoscope where kids can go and play, and it just feels like a room out of that place. So I'm good with it.
And he's just kind of.
I think I'm a little more used to it because I know in Jetman and some other Sentai series they kind of like play with the same effects.
Yeah.
Or Zhu Ranger has one that's pretty big where Terrano Ranger goes into someone's heart and it's kind of the same effect.
Oh yeah, it is really similar to that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So.
Did you notice that Seven's eye slugger didn't cut him into pieces? Like, that's pretty impressive. Like, he did smolder to death, but I was like, King gets
the
sliced
real blue steel
into pieces, and then Icarus is just like, bounces off of his chest and sets him on fire. I don't know. It's pretty impressive.
Slice my kaiju to pieces.
This is my last resort.
Can we just talk about the fact that we're in the fourth dimension and we don't see Bowlman, my boy?
Oh, Bolton.
Yeah.
Bowlman.
Bowlman, my boy.
Like we're
Episode title.
only in the fourth dimension. When things are going funky, I was like, is this my boy? Is he back? No, it was not. That was kind of sad.
Nor were we in the fifth dimension, where they, of course, sing about dawning of the age of Aquarius. That was a long way to go for absolutely nothing.
That's episode 10. That's fine.
That UFO laser attack, it's absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, God,
nothing
yeah.
left behind except just like withered trees. Like, why weren't you using this the whole time? Oh yeah, because plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so before we go into the awards, it's time for me to pitch the Patreon and ask you all for money.
Say that 5 times fast.
It's time for no. I was actually
Hard
thinking
pass.
that. I'm like, no, I need to write it down first. So before this podcast started, Chris and I were talking about doing a new show and just wanting to do something different with this, right? And not just the 3-minute color timer thing, but after the eventful year that was 2020, finding a way to just kind of give back to people. And the idea was that we could raise money for the Ultraman Foundation. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the Ultraman Foundation, I mean, yes, the name probably sounds familiar, but in their own words, the Ultraman Foundation is a foundation that acknowledges children are the hope for the future and will provide everlasting support in all kinds of ways for the welfare and well-being of all children. It is our mission to bring back the smiles to the faces of each child as soon as possible, and we pray from our heart that the children will move on to their bright future. So, not going to read out all of the stuff. If you're interested, it's patreon.com/atrociouspod. But our big thing is, again, all of this money that we're going to be raising to the Patreon, we're going to be donating to the Ultraman Foundation. Now, it is only $3 to join. There's only one tier because I'm not paying $8 a month to do Patreon. We're just doing $5. So by becoming a patron, this is what you get. So first of all, the knowledge that you're actually helping kids in need, right? We're not asking for recording costs or anything like that to be covered, which is a very valid thing to do with a Patreon, but we're just not in a position where we need that. So not only do you get that, you do get a thank you on our website, a shout out on the episode following your sign up, which we do record about a month in advance. So just keep that in mind, and a mention in our show notes as the episodes progress. You do get early access to our episodes up to a week early. Sometimes it will be earlier than that. You do get preview of our upcoming schedule, including guests, and just really a chance to get to know me and Chris, along with our fellow listeners. We did talk about trying to create content. It's just we don't have time for that, to be honest. And we'd hate to be like, hey, we're going to do this, and then we drop the ball there. So if that's something that you feel like you would partner with us on, that would be amazing. Again, it's patreon.com/atrociouspod. If that's not something that you can do, totally understand. We just ask maybe you share it with someone who's in a position to help, and they can send you the downloads. I don't really care. You do what you want to do, right? But we appreciate you taking the time to check that out at least, and we look forward to hopefully getting your patronage to help those little kiddos out. But it's time for awards. Kyle, who's your most beautiful kaiju?
Well, there were quite a few to choose from in these 10 episodes.
Yeah, there were.
There are 3 that they all kind of fit the same bill. So I'm just going to start with Alien Cool, which is the alien from the first episode. Because they did 3, and I think, and they would do more later on in the series, of these kind of like floating kind of brain aliens, with tentacles and stuff like that. And it really set it apart because, the first Ultra Q monster was Gomez.
Is it because of the tentacles?
Yeah. And then, you have very, very terrestrial looking. These are so big, they're 11 tentacles.
Oh my god.
But anyway, it sets this show apart immediately, being like the bad guys here are not just big giant monster dinosaur looking things. These
we
are
get
like
aliens. Yeah,
we actually get aliens.
Amen.
So that was my, and there were a few other ones like that. But Alien Cool, first of all, his name's Alien Cool. But and also was the first one to get utterly annihilated.
Oh, God, it's brutal.
Yeah, so that's my one.
It's a good one. I went with Vera for probably about the same reasons. Just like it feels like a lot fewer suit actors this time, and maybe more like
child suit
probably
actors.
like puppets. What?
Child suit actors.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. Well, now I can't choose him anymore. Shoot. But they did something different with them this time, and I thought that was pretty cool. So Vera is my stand-in for all of those. I think probably the same three you picked.
Yeah, totally.
If they do Vera again, they just have Warwick Davis be in the suit.
Oh, maybe.
I went with Alien Icarus, largely because his role in Ginga, his hands. It's just funny. Like if you're watching Ginga before this, you're like, what is with his hands? And you come back here and you're like, oh,
yeah,
it's always been there.
He's old Johnny Jazz hands.
I can confirm.
Yeah,
I can confirm.
Oh man.
So, what about the Monster Graveyard? Because mine had to be what's his name when he gets like sliced into a billion pieces.
Well, there's a lot of them. So what is his name, Chris?
Oh, the plant one.
Oh.
The plant.
Oh, YL.
Yeah. I had it written down and then I closed that tab. This is a brutal one.
Yeah.
My golly. Especially, and I know this is not the show's fault, but especially coming from Ginga. Good Lord, watching these things die. I'm like,
just wait till you get the
it's just turned
Ultraman
to spark
Ace.
dolls.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
What about you two? What were your monster graveyards?
Yeah, I had to do Ella King. I mean, I'm sitting here with my son and I'm like, it's fine, whatever. He's not traumatized, but we're just looking at each other and being like, he didn't deserve that. That was
Jasper's like, I know something's wrong here, but
should have cut him into 4 pieces.
Yeah.
What about you, Cal?
I think my one is it might be Alien Cool. I mean, again, he was the first one to get his head chopped off. But I mean, Ella King has blood spurt, and that is something that is like you do not get over if you've come from Ultraman to this. And
no,
it's super brutal. So that, I mean, there's plenty to choose from. Most of the deaths of the aliens are pretty gnarly, but that one really kind of stood out.
Gnarly. Oh man, what a good word. The how in the heck did he get away with that award? Just as a reminder, this is the Transformation Award. I had to go with Dan knocking Soga out in like the closet room there and transforming into Ultraseven. Just like, and you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Like this show definitely is showing. They're proving that's like, hey, you know what? Like, we're just not gonna be able to get away with just the whole like, oh, where did Dan conveniently go trope. It's just nope. Whap.
Yeah. No, that itself should have been a pretty good clue.
Yeah. What about you, Kyle?
I think it's in, I gotta make sure because there was a few episodes where he got captured.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's in Max Respond where he is trapped in like a weird force field thing, and the other alien is mimicking him. Is that episode, or is that a different episode?
Yeah.
But he like whaps it in the face, and then like this whole ridiculous like rigmarole to like figure out how he can get out of his bonds and get the thing on the Ultra Eye. So that whole sequence was just kind of like, you should not have gotten out of this. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. That's like the award itself. That's the heart of the award.
Yeah.
So mine was just when he and the kaiju are getting out of the exploding ship. Just thought it was kind of a fun.
Yeah.
Mine. This is severely less fun than the two that you just brought up. But
can't all be winners, Chris.
Well, in this exact instance, they are all winners. They gain the awards.
That's true. That's true. Kyle, what was your aim
Yeah.
for its butthole award?
So there were quite
I
a
love
few.
saying that sentence.
What is your aim for its butthole award? I mean, that is an iconic choice from the OG Ultraman. There were a lot to choose from for this. I think I'm going to go with from Secret of the Lake. One of the evil alien twin girls says, "I just want to be touched by anyone."
I almost went with that. That's so good.
It's just so sad. Like, and also like, we get it, man.
I just
like,
wanna be touched by anyone.
Especially, yeah. I feel Dan. I feel this twin.
Yeah, and she did feel Dan.
You said that.
Yeah. Chris, what was yours?
Well, I really liked that one, but I just kind of couldn't stop laughing at Alien Cool. Like, I don't know if that was a translation thing, if that was the kaiju's name in Japanese too, but that one made me laugh, so I'm gonna go with that one. I'm just
the
like, what
name,
a funny
Alien Cool.
Yeah, I was like I was like, maybe that's a translation thing. Maybe his name in Japan was just Cool Alien. They just didn't put it any further, but
Chris never.
I don't know. Just the enjoyment that I got out of it, and I had to put it up here. So
yeah. So I almost went with, I guess I've been sniffed out, considering aim for its butthole. I just thought that was kind of on the nose a little bit. Plus alien shibble.
Pun intended.
But I had to go with we have no choice. Hit him with it. And I don't know what it is. Like, maybe it's just the fact that every time I watch that, I always think Furahashi's talking about the car. But I don't know. Yeah. But I guess I've been sniffed out. It's a really good one, though.
That's very fair. It's very fair.
All right, everyone. Favorite episode, Chris. Lay it on us.
Operation Android Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty powerful one. And this time we actually discussed why during the episode discussion. Sometimes I feel like we say, this was our favorite episode. We memed it for 3 minutes, so now I'm going to talk about it. But this one we actually talked about, so yeah. Rewind about 10 minutes.
What about you, Cam?
I got to go with the Marked Town, which is maybe, like a hack thing to say, but like it's Akio Jisoji. Like and it truly, like, I remember liking it. And then I watched it again a couple days ago in preparation for this. I was like, oh yeah, this is truly wonderful. This is a truly excellent episode. It's something that I would show anybody, like we were talking about in our bonus episode that you will hear next week about like how to get into various shows. And I feel like if you want to show somebody, like, this is kind of what Ultraseven is about, or it can be. This is like one of the best episodes for sure.
If you want to convince your friends to stop smoking, watch the Marked Town.
I mean, there's that too.
Yeah. See, I almost went with Operation Android Zero. I just don't like the ending. It's incredibly anticlimactic.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like up until that point, it's one of the best episodes of the entire series. And then it gets to that end there, and I'm like, so I went with Marktown. I mean, not just because it's a Jisoji episode, but it really is just one of the. It's. I'm not big on actual favorites, but it definitely is up there when it comes to like some of the best Ultraman of all time. Like, there's no debate for me. It's up there.
Yeah, it stands out.
All right, Chris. So, you know what time it is?
I certainly do. Here's the thing. Dan's biggest problem is that he listened to the voice of the women who were calling out to him. We already brought in the Proverbs, but the whole story of the Bible is about people who listen to women who lead them down the wrong path. Adam screwed the entire human race by listening to the voice of a woman. He did not just lose his Ultra Eye, but his Ultra Life. Because the day that he ate of the fruit, he would certainly ultra die. And then later, Abraham took Hagar because he listened to the voice of his wife. Later, David would listen to the voice of women who would lead him astray. And then Proverbs, we've already alluded to it. The problem is, when women are flirting with you, you have to stop and wonder, Is this God's plan for my life? Adam did not. Abraham did not. Solomon did not. Now our call is, do we listen to the voice of the adulterous woman, or do we listen to Lady Wisdom, the Ultraman Jesus himself? Amen. I really felt that music. Like,
Right. I didn't realize it'd be that
Sink.
loud. I am so sorry, but obviously I
Sink
can
into
adjust
me.
that. I was like, oh my
Well,
God.
it kind of made me kind of match that energy, so I don't know if that was a bad thing.
I'll adjust it a little bit whenever I
No,
we'll do it
I'm
next
just gonna
time.
sound like I'm yelling.
Repent or perish.
Repent. Well,
All right, Pastor Chris or Father Chris, we do appreciate your wisdom.
and happy Father's Day to me then.
A month late. Kyle, I'm gonna let you steal Chris's thunder, even though you won't be with us. What episodes are we discussing next time?
Well, hey, you have the pleasure of talking about episodes 11 through 20 of Ultraseven, starting with Fly to Demon Mountain and ending with Destroy Earthquake Epicenter X, which is a pretty cool title.
Oh, it's an incredibly cool
It is
title.
kind of sick.
And Fly to Demon Mountain. I mean, that's just like,
Yeah.
am I excited or scared? I don't know. I'm conflicted.
That sounds like that one movie.
Escape to Witch Mountain.
Yeah, that one. Thank you.
I was just thinking Candy Mountain from Flapjack.
It's Demon Mountain, Charlie.
Or that
It's
too.
Demon Mountain, Dan.
And next time you guys also get a two-parter to
Yes.
talk about.
Yes.
So that'll be fun
Ooh.
for me to listen to.
So Kyle, I can't stress it enough. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show tonight. It's almost like you do your own podcast.
Oh, okay.
So
What?
it
Weird.
felt kind of natural. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna have to edit too much. So that's always fun, right? But
I mean, just my rampant farting, but sure.
man,
You know, that wouldn't be the first time we've had to take a fart out of the show. So don't you worry about that.
correction, I did not take it out. I just put it at the end where it belongs.
That's where it belongs, as we all know.
But seriously, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for joining us. This is your time to pull Tobias and just plug yourself, man. Where can people find you?
Yeah, well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you guys. I've been enjoying your show since it started, and
We didn't pay him to say that.
No. And you schedule way in advance, so I've had this to look forward to on my calendar for a while. So thank you very much for having me on. You can find me on Twitter at Kyle D. Anderson. You can find stuff that I write on Nerdist.com. Occasionally there are videos that I make there on our Nerdist YouTube as well. I have a video about Ultraman that I made last year, which now I think I would update, but it's too late. It's already over there. And also, if you're into Doctor Who or just the sound of my voice, you can listen to the podcast that I do, Doctor Who, The Writer's Room, Doctor Who 5 Years Rapid, and Doctor Who The Memory Cheats Season 3 is the one that I'm on. So thanks again. I had a great time, and I like to trail off when I talk.
We all do.
If you've been farting this whole time, does that mean you're those aliens from the first season? The shape-shifting ones in disguise?
Oh yeah. The Slitheen from Rexicorical Falpatorius.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Doctor Who?
The answer is
here?
yes.
Yeah, we're talking about Doctor Who.
I was like,
The whole first season was based on farting.
Yeah, a lot of farts in the first season.
so Doctor Whoever smelt it, dealt it.
Oh my God.
Thank you for tuning in. Saved by the Belial is a proud partner of the Tokusatsu Network, the premier news website for all things Tokusatsu related. If you're enjoying our show, we humbly ask that you chant our name over at Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review. More important than the reviews, though, we'd love to hear from you. So whether that's sharing your thoughts on an episode we covered, if we made a mistake, which we never do, or you just want to chat, you can send us an email at atrociouspod@protonmail.com or head over to atrociouspod.com where you'll find our contact form for listener feedback or even prayer requests. Also Patreon plug. Until next time.
May Sevenger watch over you, Wyndham empower you, and King Joe bring you joy.
Oh. Probably turn the volume up. All right. So before we go into the awards, it's time for me to pitch the Patreon and ask you all for money.
Say that 5 times fast.
All right. So before we go into the awards, it's time for me to pitch the Patreon and ask you all for money. All right. So before we go into the awards, it's time for me to pitch the Patreon and ask you all for money. All right. So before we go into the awards, it's time for me to pitch the Patreon and ask you all for money.
Money.